Welcome to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. I'm James Groves, and along with my business partner, Bill Dement, we want to share our journey as small business owners with you. As owners of Hole in the Wall drywall repair, we will attempt to peel back the curtain of owning a small business in the trade service industry and talk about the many adventures of owning a small business. Hey, Bill.
James, good morning to you.
Good morning. You know, it's funny is to think of the term small business, like the government says small business is like anything less than 250 employees. It's like, I think that for all of us on this podcast or that might be listening, anything less than 25 employees is small.
Yeah. I want to make a quick statement and see if you agree with this.
Okay.
After all these years of doing Hole in the Wall, not the podcast, but running the business, I still get up on Monday morning excited about this business.
Yeah. I agree.
It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, and in the case of the Mondays, doesn't really happen as often as you think.
It's true.
But when you do something that you love and you do something with great people, it's kind of fun to get out of bed and do some work. I think I kind of dig it.
I dig it.
But also, we don't just work 9 to 5. This is pretty much a lifestyle that we do here. So,
yeah, I find myself thinking about the business a lot outside of business hours. If I'm driving, what you usually call windshield time on the weekends, I sometimes get my better ideas then.
Yeah. I was on the couch last night, literally creating some documents for the business that just literally, I'm watching TV, got my dog on my lap, and I've got my laptop, and I'm just creating documents just kind of in my leisure time. Is it weird that my leisure time includes work? I don't know about that.
That's because that's what you enjoy.
I guess so.
Now, you've got somebody as a guest on the podcast today.
Yeah, well, we teased a repeat guest a couple weeks ago that had to cancel. And then but I've already had this person in the hopper as well as also a repeat guest. And then what's funny is that this person didn't even make the cut for our 1 year in review episode we did a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Because they weren't even, their last podcast was December of 2022.
So the previous year.
So they just missed the cut. Not that this person has not been in our life ever since then, though, because she has been an integral part of our business.
And I can tell you, she is excited about what she does. And what I really like is she's really excited about Hole in the Wall, too. Yes. I love the energy she always brings.
Yeah. So obviously, those who know and love Bill and I in Hole in the Wall know that we are deeply invested in and love Bonnie Gisrel Magerer. I always forget it. Bonnie Gisrel Magerer.
You're an artist.
I know.
Jaggerer.
Jagger
Magerer.
Okay.
Just add the WR.
I just call her Bonnie.
I know.
It's better.
Bonnie with BPowered Consulting. So Bonnie, here's the audience applauding you. You were on episode 22 back in the old studio over a year ago. And so we wanted to get you kind of back on the podcast to kind of talk about some of the exciting things you got going on in your life and some of the cool things that we're doing here at Hole in the Wall and how you've been a part of it. But let's just kind of refresh the audience's memory on, who you are and why you're so key and important to us and all the magic that you do in your time.
Thank you. I was actually really happy to get invited back to this because I had such a good time on the episode. And sad to hear I didn't make a year in review, but I missed it, obviously, by just a few weeks because I was here in December.
We'll highlight you this year.
But I can't believe it was December over a year ago.
Yeah.
So as well as these gentlemen know, I own BPowered Consulting. I'm a full-service consulting firm. I do everything for small businesses. And I am the 200 and under, but I do a lot of training in businesses that are bigger than that. And that's one of the conversations we're going to talk about today is the training piece of business, which I love. And I think it's so integral into making sure that your culture and your people stay forever, right? You want them to come on board and stay for a long time. So, but I do all kinds of things. I'm not just a consultant. I, tell you to get out of your own way and put your plan together and make sure your strategy is all ready to go and that you've put your plan together. My big words for this year are to restore and renew or rebuild. Because a lot of people forget as they've been in business for a while, they need to go back and relook at everything. Where are you? And I found it interesting because my church, actually, that was their theme. And I already have been implementing that with clients at the tail end of last year. As we're looking at 2024, what are you putting in place? Do you need to restore and rebuild and renew your relationships with your business partners, with your people, with your own employees? Do you need to restore where you are in business? Do you need to rebuild something to make it stronger or change? And you guys are in an interesting spot because you're in grow mode, right?
Yep.
You're in grow, go, make it mode, which is really fun. And yeah, as you said, I'm along this journey with you and I am loving it. I joke with people that I have my favorite clients. I'm sorry. You're just, I can't tell you.
We're okay with that.
Right?
We'll take that honor.
So I have some people that are like, wait, I'm not your favorite client. And I'm like, I like them because I see where you guys are going, like the energy and the excitement of the plan and putting all the right things together and making sure that you're headed in the right direction, that the business has nowhere to go except succeed. And that each of the franchisees that come on board, they've got an entire manual and a team that's going to help them succeed. So if they are coming into this as small business and they don't know very much about business, they're going to get a huge education from you guys and someone who's on their team to help them make sure they stay on track.
Right.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in business. You start, you go, you're on your own. That's where I come into a lot of small businesses, is that consultant of I'm that person they can talk to, because you can't talk to your employees when you're in business. You can talk to a partner, but you can't talk to your employees. You've got to have someone to talk to. Otherwise, what are you doing? Right. You don't have that accountability for what's my plan and where am I taking it?
It's almost like you're like the small business owner life coach.
Kind of. Yeah. It's interesting to say that because I do talk about all of it. Like if someone comes into just truly coaching with me, if they're trying to grow in their business, or they're an executive that's trying to take a higher role and they just need to get some skills under their belt, or they're struggling with something, I come on as a real coach, but I talk about everything because I can't coach you in business and find the holes in the things that you have going on if I don't know what's happening in the rest of your life. Are you taking care of your health? Are you taking care of your personal relationships? Are your finances a hot mess? I need to understand all of that, because if something's out of whack, you're taking that to work with you. You're taking that along the journey with you. We need to figure out how to make that better, give you those resources, because those resources are not me, but I'll help you go find the right resources to make sure that you're getting all those things on track and everything is becoming healthy so that you can grow to whatever it is you wanted to do. Whatever your goal was for hiring me, let's go. But you've got to be able to do the work. Right. And the one thing I have discovered is this. You may want to hire me. You might be able to afford me. But if you don't do the work, you don't get to keep me.
Dude, we may not even like you at the end.
Right.
But.
I do.
Well, there was a lot of homework through the process. I actually say that to people, like, you may not like me somewhere along this path, but my job is to make you better. And if I don't make you uncomfortable, like, I have to make you uncomfortable. You're going to be uncomfortable because growing is uncomfortable. It's not easy. We're not.
I know a few of your clients, and the
yes,
the scuttlebutt behind your back is Bonnie gave me homework.
I do. I give everybody homework because here's the thing. A lot of small business owners come to me and they're solo and they're trying to grow, or they've got one or two employees.
Yeah.
They have no plan.
Well, and if you're having any success as a small business like that, it's easy to get just overwhelmed.
Well, and there's no plan. They never had a business plan. They have no strategy. They were really good at something. They launched it and they went and they're doing okay and they're making money. But now they're like, okay, now what do I do now?
Well, they spent so much time working in the business, they never figured out what they want to go in the future.
100%. Yeah. And then I give homework. Okay, well, let's go backwards. I need you to write a business plan. What? I've been in business for 5 years. Great. So what's the plan? I don't know. Okay.
Make money.
Here you go.
Yeah.
So you're going to create a business plan. And from that, we're going to put a strategy together for you for this next year and how you're going to get to it and the accountability pieces you need to put in place. And it's homework. I give a lot of homework, and I give homework every time you see me. It's not, homework is never over because you're still trying to grow. There's never going to be a point where someone comes into a meeting with me and I don't send them home with homework.
You know, as a small business owner, we have almost like a pride about us, right? There's an issue where people, when they hire and fire people, they fire so slowly that it's because, a lot of times it's because they don't want to admit that they failed to hire the right person. Yeah. And I've had to get over that over the years. It's like, it's not a failure that I hire the wrong person. It's just, I just need to hire the right person. You keep moving forward. There's a kind of like I don't know, like, I don't need a coach. I don't necessarily want a coach. And I try to remind people that, like, Tiger Woods, one of the best golfers in the world, has a coach.
Yeah.
He listens to that. They help him refine and tweak. One of the best drummers in the world, Neil Peart, who is with Rush, one of my favorite drummers, like, if you ask most drummers, like, he's the best drummer ever created by God. He had a coach helping him refine his technique and process. So no matter how good you think you are, the reality is that you could always do a little bit better. And And if you can take care of yourself a little bit better, mentally, physically, the whole 9 yards, we talk about the win-win-win a few podcasts back, it's a success. And frankly, to have somebody like you just as a sounding board, because there are times that I just can't talk to the people in my sphere group about what we're doing. And frankly, sometimes Bill and I get tired of talking to each other, or we run out of ideas.
I never said that out loud.
But that happens. And you guys are great partners. Like, you were the yin and yang to each other. I've been around for a year working in your business with you, so I see it on a different level. And that's exactly, even business owners that have 250 employees have that moment. They need to talk strategy, and it can't be to the same people. I get brought into boardrooms sometimes to have conversations. I just get hired as a consultant. Just come in the room and listen and give us your feedback and an outside view, because they're all talking to each other. They've been all talking to each other. There's no outside input.
Yeah.
And people forget, like, I hate to say this, but the word coach and the word consultant get thrown around so much that it almost feels like I'm chasing that junk level, right? That's not me. I don't go into business with everybody. I don't get hired by everyone. I don't choose to do business with everyone for that reason.
Yeah.
If that's your attitude, I'm here to help you. I want to be on the team. I want to watch you grow. I want to watch you succeed. I as a coach and my company want to see that amazing thing happen that you've put on paper that you want to make happen. You got to do the homework, but we're there to be on that path with you. And I use my network and all the amazing people in my network to make sure that happens. I give away a lot of business to other people, some other consultants sometimes, especially in the money industry. That is not my wheelhouse. That goes to someone else. But I make sure they're getting the top people that I can find. So those words, consultant, coach, you got to find the right person for what you're trying to do. And there are a lot of that word out there. So, when you're looking, make sure you're putting the right people in your network. I feel really lucky. I landed in a group that introduced me to James. You find yourself in the right room with the right people. I've tried really hard to do that for my business, because that's where I want to be. I don't want to be in the general public finding people that I don't want to do business with.
Yeah.
I want good people. I want good companies that have their feet, they're ready to go.
Yeah, and they're serious about business.
Yeah.
It's not a sideline for them. This is their goal and focus.
And it's working hard. Like you said, you were at home this past weekend with your laptop in your lap, the dog, watching TV, working.
Yeah.
Did it feel like work? Because you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had this conversation with somebody. You have to find the thing that you love, that when you get up on Monday morning, doesn't feel like you're going to work.
Yeah.
I'm teaching my daughter that. She sees that. I love what I do. It's okay for me to take a phone call off hours or answer an email early, or, have a long day. I've had a couple of really long days starting this year just because everybody's trying to catch up from being off for the holidays. And she just sort of sees that, like, I have homework too. Like, she's doing homework as a high schooler until, 11 o'clock midnight. So's mommy sometimes. Because every now and then she'll be like, "You're doing homework too?" "Yep, I'm doing homework too." We all have homework, but it doesn't feel like homework because it's part of what I do, and I love it.
Right.
And that just means that I'm growing someone else, or something else is going to happen for somebody.
Yeah. Well, what's great is, like, early last year when we knew we were doing franchising, Bill and I looked at our system, because we have a great little good training system. We use Trainual online, and we've been putting things in an organized manner for training for so long that we had so much in the can, as we call it. And then when we started franchising, there's all these manuals and things we wanted to make sure we implement. And I was having a really hard time trying to figure out, how are we going to consolidate all of this great data and find the holes that we're missing, because it looks great, but I'm sure there's several things we don't have yet. But we got to put it in a package that's trainable to strangers, and do it in a way that in just a couple of weeks, we teach them how to run a business and make drywall and, go. And so I asked you in passing once, "Hey, we're looking to find someone that could help us." I was thinking it was going to be like a virtual assistant or something, that I would be like, "Hey, someone can just, here, take this shoebox of receipts and make a tax return," just kind of like, here's the jumbled mess.
It really did have that feel, didn't it?
And I was confident we had good stuff. I just didn't like the way it was laid out. And then you have to be able to then take it and then, what order do we want to train it in? I mean, you can't put the cart before the horse, but yet you got to make sure that they know that there is a horse in front of the cart. It's like, you got to figure out all those things. And frankly, my brain wasn't been in that direction. So I asked you in passing one of our meetings, like, hey, we're looking for somebody that could do this. Do you recommend somebody? As in, I know you as a consultant and a coach, and I know you as someone that can help on the higher end stuff. And you said, well, I think I could help you with that. Let's take a meeting. And thus began the long, long relationship in the side of your business that many people don't know you know how to do. And we lovingly call it the Bonnie book here. It's 270, 280 pages.
Now on the fourth edition.
Now on the fourth edition. Yeah. And I'd like to dig into that a little bit later on. But I think I'd love to get your insights on how important it is, even in the most basic level, as a small business owner, to start, even when you're starting out, why you need to make sure training is part of your ethos of your company. And some of the things that you can do, even when you're just a 1 or 2 man operation, how to embed that as part of your culture.
Training is sort of the keystone one of getting the right people in your company and keeping them. So in the beginning, when you're small, you've hired the right person because they're your right-hand person, right? Mm-hmm. You brought on 1 person or 2 people, they're your right-hand people. Take that time to write things down. What is happening? What's the process? What's the procedure? How are you doing that? What are the things? Everything from answering the phone to what it is you want to say when you answer the phone. It seems so simple, but someday that's not going to be you. And it may not be the person sitting next to you. It could be 10 administrative people later or 10 more employees later, you're bringing on a full-time admin. How do you want them to answer the phone? What does that sound like? If you've already mastered that's basic, right? How you want them to answer the phone. What do you want them to say? Hello, this is blah, blah, blah with yada, yada, yada. What is it? What are the words? How do you want your business to feel? Is it fun? Is it professional? Is it a mix? Do you want them to make sure they're smiling? Those seem all very simple, but each day, if you're building your manual as you're building your company, put those notes in a book. You can always have someone else go back and type them later, but put the notes in a book because someday when you've got 10 employees and the admin's out sick and someone needs to answer the phone and no one's ever answered the phone except the admin who's out sick, who's doing it? And I know we have automation. I'm using this as an example, but
sure,
there's so much automation. What are the basic procedures to all the things you do in your company? Is it in a book? Are all the procedures in there? Is all the safety in there? What is specific to your industry that everyone that works in your company needs to know?
And I think if we were doing something right in the beginning, it was that we were kind of taking those notes. I still have yellow pads from a decade ago, wondering how much work could one truck do. I was thinking in those terms, how much can 2 guys in 1 truck earn? And then what does that look like? How many hours a year do I need to get to $1 million a year? I just was thinking through all that stuff. But again, the problem isn't always having the thoughts and having the ideas, but how do you organize it and how do you clearly convey it to somebody else? The E-Myth, they bring up the principle of do the job until you know it quite well and then show somebody else how to do it. And that's that missing piece. Then you go do the next thing. But the missing piece is what does that training look like? You come sit with me for a week and I'll show you what to do, or there's got to be better ways as a company grows. This is what you're pointing out.
Yeah.
When you're really small, it's easy to be intimate with somebody just sitting in your office. But if I've now got to train somebody in Omaha,
right?
How does that happen? And boy, you really shed the light on that for us. Just
a little writing too, because how you want things done speaks to the culture of the company that you're creating too. And culture is such a buzzword, right? Mm-hmm. But it's true. Mm-hmm. You want that good feeling company. You want the company that attracts the people that are going to work for you.
Yeah.
And create the company you want. Training is part of that. It has to be a piece of the puzzle, and it has to be good. It can't just be sort of willy-nilly stuff. As you get bigger, it needs to be better. You need to have the bigger manual. Even if you print it yourself or write it yourself, it still needs to be in writing and done. Just like your business plan and your strategy for the year coming up has to be in writing. Yeah. You have to have the magic book. How does it all happen?
Well, we've said for years, those kinds of things, Bonnie, they don't happen because they slide downhill of their own accord.
No.
They happen because somebody puts their shoulder to it and pushes it uphill. Yeah. And there is a lot of that kind of heavy lifting when you're doing training, when you're creating culture. Mm-hmm. We actually did a podcast, this last year, I think, about company culture, talking about whether by design or by accident, every company has a culture.
Right.
And I think that training is going to be the same thing, either by design or by default. Your company is going to have some kind of training. How effective is it? Is it written down? Is it duplicatable?
Well, and to me, I think the curse of a small business owner is that we are more person-driven to the task as opposed to the position. So when I write training, I try and write training not because I've got this employee named X that does this job.
Yes.
But this job requires this training.
Yes.
And if you have it written down, you have a little bit of a safety net if that person gets sick, right? So if you've got somebody who, say you've got someone in your front office who gets pregnant and then all of a sudden she has to take off for a couple of months. Well, that position still needs to happen. If that person did more than her position, you maybe have 2 positions that you need to document or 3 positions. But trying to figure out what that is after the fact, that is absolutely frightening.
It is. And you will find every hole you didn't know existed. The trick to as you grow is that people will take on responsibilities because they see it needs to be done. And you as the owner may not even notice that someone has picked it up.
That is a true statement. Yeah.
So I have a company who their job in January and February is to actually give a piece of paper to all of their clients. It's online or all of their employees. And they're supposed to write down what they do.
I love that.
Because she sees some gaps. She doesn't know what they are, but there's lots of things happening that aren't documented anywhere. And she's to a point where, 60 employees, it's that take a deep breath. Ooh, what happens if I need to replace them? Because she's not had to. She's not had any employee turnover in 24 months. So I think in her internal fear is, where are the holes? We had this conversation. I said, well, let's find out where the holes are and fill them. And really, it's not filling. It's rewriting the job description for the person. Mm-hmm. That's all. Mm-hmm. You're going to take everything that they told you they're doing, the job description that you have given to that position, and we're going to rewrite it. I'm not going to rewrite it. She's an internal person that's going to rewrite it, her HR department. But they don't know. They don't know what that difference is. So we just need to figure that out.
Yeah. And trying to figure that out is sometimes we kind of get our brain messed up, like, oh no, what are we going to do? How do we do that? How do we make it happen? But I think you just have to baby step it, just start it one piece at a time, where you're just, one bite at a time. Because if you look at the whole project, it's too daunting. When I looked at this whole project, this Bonnie book that people can't see, but I'm putting my hand on it.
I love the Bonnie book.
Right. So when I looked at this project, it's just too daunting if I looked at the whole thing as a whole. But being able to piece by piece, bite by bite, take advantage of the situation and nailing this 300 whatever page masterpiece.
Yes.
And that's the encouragement for the small business person. Listen, we're in this over 10 years. Yeah. So it wasn't overnight. And even when we had all of our ducks kind of in a row, it still took,
there were a lot of meetings.
Mm-hmm. It was a lot of meetings.
A lot of data back and forth. Mm-hmm. I heard stories about Bonnie with multiple books and sheets spread out across her floor as she's working at home.
Yes.
And late nights, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, there was so much information. You guys had so much information in your online system. And then you had a book that was created by, for the franchisees, not really by you guys. So it was taking all the information and just making sense of it. Mm-hmm. And that was the piece that took the most time, was making sense of it and then cleaning it up.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Like making sense and putting it in logical order took some time, because how do you want to train? What are the first things you want to say? So lots of information, but how does it lay out? And the tweaking of that over time. Edition 1 or version 1 doesn't look anything like edition 4,
right?
Because it was laying out and moving things around,
right?
Or finding the holes and the gaps in the things that you wanted to share with.
And some of the stuff was duplicated, so some things had to be cut out.
Yes.
And in addition to filling some of the holes, and I've said to you, and I just want to say it on air, I I had every right to hope for something as good as this book that you did for us, but I had no right to expect it. Bonnie, what on earth was in your background that equipped you to do this?
I think it just comes with time. I've been in a lot of industries and a lot of businesses, and, the safety piece I understand for sure from my construction background. And, every real estate company has a magic book of information. Most of the corporations that I've worked for as a consultant or a coach have got all their training and all their manuals over time. But I think it's just logic. I don't think it came from anywhere else. I think it was just logic. It was taking all of your information and making it make sense if I was going to be teaching it. And that's how I approached it.
Okay.
I'm going to teach it, and I don't know how to do it. Now, I'm pretty sure at this point, I know how to do everything except the drywall, because I didn't have to write all of those things down. You already had that done, right? So minus actually going out and fixing drywall, I'm pretty sure I got everything else. And I think that comes to the consultant piece too. A consultant can't come into your business and help you do something like this without really diving in and understanding the company as a whole and where you're going and the franchise company that you guys have and what you want for it. High-end, good training, right? So we talk so much about who we're training to, what levels we need to train to, the wording that we're using, and being very specific and intentional just takes time. It took more time than I intended it to, for sure. But I think
that never bothered me.
No, but I think
that never bothered me.
But the timing is perfect, right?
Agreed.
The timing for what you guys have going on. And there was so many tweaks because I'd send you home with homework. Here's the first rendition. Here's the things I think are missing. Here's the meeting.
There was a lot of that.
Okay, then everybody came back with their pieces, even me, right? Because I'm still staring at your training online and looking at all the things. And James is sending me like, I think there's a hole here and we should do this and let's use these words. And I think it takes that collaboration of an outside source because you two were both in it.
Yeah.
Like, you guys were in Trainual, including your daughter, right? You guys were all in it.
Yeah.
It's taking that outsider look of here it is. And yes, the joke is the Bonnie book that's in front of you, but the Bonnie book's been around.
Yeah, it's been around, but such high quality. And I can remember very early on in the process when James said we were going to have this ability to train franchisees. Oh, and by the way, it's going to help train employees as well. And I said to myself, and I wrote it on the whiteboard in my office, want to have the highest, most professional training in our industry.
Oh, you guys
let's set the bar there. If we want to hit the moon, if we want to shoot for the stars, let's at least hit the moon. Let's go for it. Right.
And I think you guys are. I think that the idea and the concept that you guys have put together with this book and the in-person training that is, we're almost done with, I think that just sets you apart. There are 50, 100 employee companies that don't have information or training like this.
Yeah.
They don't have it.
Right.
And you're going to hand a business owner, here's the entire model. Here's all the support. Here's all the information. Here's all the training.
Come on, that's good fun, isn't it?
All the magical stuff to just knock it out of the park from day one.
Yeah.
They don't have to dream it up. They don't have to figure it out. They just have to learn.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and part of the franchising process, we talk about it a lot. Instead of somebody having to start at home plate and get a base hit, we can start them on second base. Yeah. And as I've thought through this process, a couple of weeks ago, I told James, so our position in all this now is we're the third base coach.
Yep.
Here's how you get from second to third.
Yeah.
Go home. Okay. Yeah. So that's what we're doing. And a training program like this equips us to do this in a really highly organized and logical manner.
Yeah.
Yes.
So can we dig in? Because I want to open the book up.
I love this book.
So some of the things, if I'm just listening to this, what are you training? What are you doing? And when we look at our table of contents, which is several pages long.
It's long. But they need it to be long.
There's 13 different areas. And it's like, well, what possibly do you have to train? Obviously, so we obviously wanted to introduce everybody, section one, just introduce who are we as a franchise. We have a story. It's documented. It's on podcasts. It's online. It's everywhere. But for us to be able to share that with a new franchisee is, I think, I can't wait when we actually get people here. We can actually walk through our training to actually kind of share our story, kind of give them a peek at what the culture of the company is going to be. what our core values are, and why it's important that we run a business with integrity, why we have a business that we run with, constantly trying to self-improve.
Authentic relationships.
Yes.
And then you've got to get into the operations of the business. Like when I realized that we're actually going to teach them, if they don't have any business experience at all,
right.
If they take a peek at what we're giving them, they're getting a master class in how to launch a small business just by going through. And we can only teach them a little bit. In the 2 weeks they're going to be here, we're going to breeze over some of these things, but they have a manual. They can always go back and research and study.
Put in the basics.
Yeah. So what are some of the elements that we think that we want to highlight? Why, like obviously, the business operation is key, but we did things that I thought were kind of unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, if you don't know how to run a business,
right.
Like we even have a section on here's what you should put in your office.
Yes.
If you need an office, where is your office going to be?
Right.
Make sure you think about these items.
And I think that spoke to, you want to be their consultant to make sure that they are on it, that they are going to knock it out of the park themselves, not just because you've given them, the tools and the structure, but they're going to go do it. It's that if you've never worked for yourself, you've never read a self-help book or a business book, and this is your new plan, you don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
What do you need in your office?
Yeah, and
someone needs to tell you to put your uniform on every day, right?
Every day.
Because you worked for a company that told you what to do and how to do it. And now you have to do it yourself. So there's pieces of some of the business operations that we put in, because you have to remember that not everybody has that. Not everybody has that knowledge or that background. And it seems so basic, and it may not be something you say in the actual training, but if they go back and read the book, or you've got people sitting in the live training that have never owned a business.
Yeah.
Hey, this is your reminder. Seems really silly. Put your shirt on every day.
Mm-hmm.
Your logo needs to go out the door with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Way back in the day when I was in real estate, I had an agent that was really struggling for clients, but she was busy. Kids, activities, things. I'm like, get a t-shirt and print your name on it and your, business logo on the back. Wear a name tag everywhere. Seems silly, right? But it's not. How many people went into business with her to help them buy or sell real estate because she was doing that, and they were just reading it. They just saw her everywhere because she was everywhere all the time. She got really busy.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right? When you're new to business, are you putting your uniform every day? Do you know what your office is supposed to look like? Are you out meeting the right people? Are you in the right networks? So you laid out the business operation pieces because somebody may not know any of that. We were talking about one person who didn't know what some of the organizations were to get you to network, right? That comes into play. If you've never had to network for yourself and you've lived in a cubicle working for someone else and you've never had to go out and network and shake hands and kiss babies, as I call it.
Yeah.
Now we got to teach you how to go do that. Like put you in the right rooms with the right people that are going to put business in your business, right? So we have to teach you how to do that, to show you where that's going to come from. So if you don't have that background, and if you do, there still might be some things in there that you don't know.
Absolutely.
Right? There might be a magical word or a statement or phrase that we think is so basic that even you as an experienced business person is like, oh yeah, I never thought of that.
We're actually seeing that with some of our franchise candidates. They're like, we're really good at the thing we do.
Right.
But man, I don't know about, for instance, marketing or at all. I don't know. I don't even know where to begin.
Right. And that's tough.
Yeah.
And that's why there was so much. James is like, do we really have to tell them that? Yes, we do.
Yes,
and here's
we do.
why. Here's why we have to tell them that. And I think that was where the consultant piece really came in for me, was because of that. Like, why do you need that in there?
Well,
and there were some gaps. Remember, we found some holes.
Boy, didn't we?
Of information that was in the book that originally was supposed to go to the franchisee.
Yes.
And in Trainual, there was just this gap of information. So we wanted to make sure that got filled. I don't think we missed anything.
No.
Or we might find things over time.
No,
but that's going to be fun to be part of the process.
But you bring up a good point,
right?
though. The manual is something that can be modified going forward as things change and evolve. Yeah. I love that.
Here's my statement. Everything you do for training, and small companies get stuck in this. Well, that's the way it is. It's a living document.
Yeah.
And I'm moving my head around, I know. It's a living document, right? This is going to live and breathe by what's happening in your business and the changes in the business and in the world. There's going to be things that shift. Every year, if you do have training written and you are a small business, have someone else read it. Like even someone in your networking group that you like, have them just read through your training. Is there a gap? Has the world changed? Or have each of your employees read through their own job descriptions. Is that really what they're doing? To me, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? You got to go back and look at it. It's a living document. It's not, this is the only way. I mean, come on. Apple, for example, didn't say this is the only way the store is going to run for the rest of their lives. I mean, I walked by that store in the mall a couple of weeks ago. I can't even describe the chaos.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, it's the same thing. It's a living thing. It has to grow and change with your company and your organization growing and changing. So the joke is that this is the 4th edition, but I can't wait to be here when I write the 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's coming at some point, right? For sure.
Here's the 10th edition.
Yeah.
The things that change. Because we found the gaps in the training, right? Mm-hmm. So when we start doing it live and you start really, really putting it together and teaching people.
Yeah.
And you get to your 20th, 30th franchise. Mm-hmm. What's missing? What gap did we find? Now, my hope is it's not a huge gap, but
Sure.
And then what's changed, right? So what evolves over this year or next year or the years to come will change that. It'll be a living piece.
Yeah. And what's nice is that it's a safety net for the person who maybe is nervous about starting their own business and they don't know the basics, but to know that they've got a manual that teaches them that, here's how you do some basic financial management and run with payroll and make sure you have a good relationship with the banker and that's how to get loans. How do you keep employee records? Are you going to hire employees? Are you a solo entrepreneur? Well, obviously someday you will grow and you will need to hire an employee or 2 or 10. Well, how to keep the right records? How do you hire somebody? How do you onboard them? How do you make sure you ask them the right questions and get the right background checks? And what state requirements do you have for drug testing? And those are some of the basics that we know because we've been doing it for a long time. But the average person, when they're starting a business, they don't just necessarily know that.
No, and you gave them a couple of good examples too. Didn't just leave that as just here's some written information on that. Here's an example of what the form could look like. Mm-hmm. If they really don't want to recreate it, they can just take the form you've given them.
Yep.
And if they want to recreate it, go for it.
Yeah.
But at least they have some basic starts. So if they're truly a young entrepreneur, young meaning they hadn't owned a business or they've only, just started in being entrepreneurship, there's some basic stuff in there that they don't have to recreate the wheel. They can use what you've given them and then they can change it later if they like, or they can just keep it implemented and change it as you change it.
Right.
Because you're going to give them access to the things that you change in your system.
Yeah. The updates will happen online and then we'll obviously supplement their book.
Yep.
And as we grew our company, we started buying more and more trucks and more things. We needed to learn how to manage a fleet of vehicles. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not going to be on a young entrepreneur's brain, how to do a fleet. We're logoing a vehicle right now for one of our potential our future franchise locations, and we had to create. Here's your numbering scheme for your future growth of your business. So we started with the end in mind now, and we had to create a whole new numbering scheme for their vehicles. And they got one vehicle. Why would you need a number on it? Well, we need a number because you will have more than one vehicle.
Yeah, and you're going to have a system.
Yeah, down the road. Yeah,
and what'd you come up with? Because I know this is part of our conversation last week.
It'll be location with the alpha.
Okay.
With the letter, and then the digits behind it.
Yeah. And
then it'll be 3 digits. The first digit's going to be the type of vehicle. So, like our vehicles here, they're we have 100 series, 200 series, we have up to 500 series. And we don't have 500 trucks. We just have multiple trucks in one category, whether it's a pickup truck or like a box truck or like the new, the nice new vehicles we have.
But all those simple things, again, like you said, an entrepreneur brand new to doing that has never run a fleet or understood how to do that or that they need a GPS or you've given them the basics and the manual and you're giving them your own coaching to get there. Listen, if they don't.
How do your employees put gas in that car? How do your employees know what to happen when they get a flat tire on the side of the road, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to be their only call? Hey, boss, I broke down. I'm on the side of the road. We've been there. We've done that. So we wrote a process and we created partnerships with people. So we don't got to worry about, we got a fuel card system that we worked with that each employee's got their own personal PIN. We can keep track of it. We audit it, make sure no one's stealing gas from the company. If they break down, we've got services that can come get them new tires or get them towed to the proper location. those processes are all written down in here. And so as the company grows, obviously they're not going to have GPS in one vehicle because it's just them, you know. But when they get 2 or 3, they're going to want to be able to know, hey, where is Billy Bob? Why is he not at job site?
Correct.
They want to be able to go onto their GPS system and say, oh, yeah, he stopped at 7-Eleven for gas. No problem, you know. Or wait a second, why is he in the wrong city? You know,
or
hey, why is he at the bar?
Well, my thing is, or why is he on the side of the road?
Yeah.
Right. And he hasn't, and I don't know yet. Right. Like, and that's the all of those things come into just teaching the things. And yes, that information that's in this book was a lot of information. Just even the basic, which I thought was really cute, is walk around the vehicle. You know, it's something that you teach teenagers too, right? You walk around the vehicle, make sure there looks like there's air in the tires, and that there's nothing behind the car that's been left. Yeah. Right. And I was like, I love that there was a walk around.
Well, that came from my aviation background.
I liked it.
You don't go fly an airplane until you do a walk around first.
Correct.
You actually check the gas to make sure there's no water in it. You check you touch parts of the airplane to make sure they're working correctly. Right. So you don't want to find out later that something isn't up to snuff.
No, not at all.
Did you know that there are over 140 million homes in the U.S.? 97% of them have walls and ceilings that are built using drywall. The drywall repair industry is simply enormous, valued at over $13 billion a year. We're hole-in-the-wall drywall repair, and for years we have been perfecting the art of repairing drywall, developing and refining our systems, and strengthening our brand. Our business model is simple, scalable, and easy to learn. We believe it's a real game changer. We are successful drywall repair pros who decided to take our repair business to a higher level, growing both our franchise training and support to industry-leading standards. You'll benefit from our vast experience helping your franchise hit the ground running and achieve success quickly. We'll give you access to our marketing team that has created strategic programs designed to get your phone ringing and booking new business fast. Join a fast-growing leader in an exciting dynamic segment of the home service industry by franchising with Hole-in-the-Wall Drywall Repair. Start building your own business and securing your own financial future today. Yeah. And then we obviously outlining partnership agreements with vendors and outlining the right equipment that they need. Obviously, our brand guides in here. So here's how you logo a vehicle. Here's how you implement the brand so you're not, misusing it. Our safety program, we don't necessarily force our program on them, but we give them our entire program. So it's a guideline for them to create their program with.
And there's so much in the safety stuff these days. It's the OSHA regulations on top of all of the new things that came out with COVID that you had put in, already into your information that you just reshared with them. Yeah. But the resharing piece, some of them may not even think that they need that, right? If we don't tell them, it's just me, I'm working for myself. Why do I need a safety program?
Yeah, it's true.
You do, because you don't know what you're going to encounter. And I've heard some sketchy stories lately about, people, you're in homes that aren't yours. Yeah. Right. You don't know what you're walking into. You need to be cautious and safe.
Yeah. And there was a case where there was a building inspector. He was like a home inspector, and it was in an area that had crawl spaces. Right. We don't have a lot of those in Florida, but there's where there's underneath the floor, there's a crawl space. And someone asked, "Hey, listen, would you mind checking this out? I got an issue." The guy's like, "You know what? On my way home, I'll swing by and I'll just take a look underneath there." So the guy, the homeowner wasn't home, and he crawls into the crawl space, and he never crawls back out because he didn't have a partner, which is in the safety plan. Yeah. I always have a partner that before you go in someplace dangerous. And he had a heart attack and died underneath the house. Oh, my. And he never showed up. No one knew that he was even going to that home because it was a quick phone call. Yeah, I'll swing by on my way home. Not documented, not in an email, nowhere on his calendar. He was just going to swing by on his way home, crawled into the crawl space, and passed away underneath the home. They didn't find him for 72 hours later. They were frantic all about it. But having some basic guidelines and standards would have stopped him. If there's 2 people in a situation, we learned in the OSHA class, if there's 2 people in a situation and one person is underneath there and they need help, the second person doesn't go in after them automatically. Because what if it's something dangerous like an odor that could kill them both? Now they're both dead, as opposed to going to get help. So these are the little tips and tricks. The very first thing people look at our safety manual is, well, why do you have a bloodborne pathogen program? Yeah. That's kind of scary. But what if you're an owner operator and Bill's on a ladder and you're the helper, and then all of a sudden Bill falls off the ladder and gets hurt? Does the helper know how to get him safely, get him help, or do CPR or safety, Band-Aids, whatever? Do you have the right kits? Do you have the right training? Little things like that matter for your longevity, not just because you want to be organized, but because you want everyone to arrive home at night alive.
Right.
You know?
I agree 100% with that.
Sorry, get on my safety soapbox.
No,
But-
no, you don't be doing that.
I mean, my background, like family-owned business, like liability and doing the wrong things and not having a team that understands what they're supposed to do is vital. They need to get the details you put in there for sure. And you gave them so much information already.
Yeah.
You gave them, here's the page, you can recreate it, but here's the basics that we know you're going to need. Again, because you want to make sure that the helper can get the person out safe and that they can secure the scene if there's blood or a mess or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, work is dangerous. We try and be safe. Luckily, our jobs aren't as dangerous as that, but it does happen. And then we have to teach them actually how to do the job. Here's what happens. I mean, there's a whole element that we love here. Our Section 7 is job flow. This has kind of been my baby, our charts and graphs and trying to figure out tracking the order from the time the job request comes in. How do we collect the information? How do we disseminate the information? How do we go through the whole process? And that was kind of fun to kind of dig in. And this is where we kind of shine because we already had all these processes written down.
Yes.
But it did find some gaps in it. So we were able to kind of go in and tweak it. So that to me was kind of the fun part of it. And the breaking up the responsibilities between who's doing what and where. At the beginning, it's the business owner possibly doing all of it.
Yeah.
Or they've got a business owner and a tech. And then those two are doing all of it. But at least they know what they need to do now. And that process kind of helps them through that. So that'll be.
But I loved your chart. The job flow chart.
Job flow chart.
Because even if you are small, you still have to follow the process. There's still a process to having the job come in and what you do with it and how you estimate it and all the parts and pieces and getting it scheduled.
And that's the same whether that's one or 100 people involved.
Making sure
in
all
it.
your things are on the truck that you need, like the whole process all the way down to getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And saying, thank you, will you give me a referral, right? Or a review. Right? The whole process is there. I love that it's in the book as a little chart too, because if for any reason you think I missed a step, you've got it. It's a flow chart. You're looking at a flow chart. Did I follow all the processes for this? When you're small, I think that's fantastic.
But I blew it up. So I blew up in this gigantic 5 foot, just hang on the wall in our training lab. So
it is a presence.
I like it though.
Yeah. It's great because
I'm a fan. You can see it.
I do see.
Well, listen, we had the open house here, a few months ago, and there was another lady here who does some coaching, and we had a table right across from where it was. I didn't know who she was. She was part of a different clan that was here, and she says, "Is this your company?" I go, "Yeah, I'm one of the owners." She's like, "Okay, who wrote that?" And she points over to my chart, and I said, "Well, yeah, I created that chart." She says, "I get paid to tell people how to do that chart, and you're already doing it." I go, guilty as charged, I guess, because she was just so impressed. We actually had the ability to kind of track, to track, how the job flow goes. So
well, and I love that. That's her statement. People pay me a lot of money to do that or teach them how to do that. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. And then we have a whole hands-on section where we literally make them get their hands dirty.
Here's how you spread mud. Here's how you make holes go away.
Yeah.
It's the only class I haven't taken yet.
Yeah.
There's time yet.
And we'll video it, and then it'll be online for our people to review, when they're all said and done. And then obviously we have all of our tech training and all that good stuff. So I'm really excited about it. There's so much that has been put into this, and it will eventually we'll have to remove the name Bonnie book from it.
Bonnie's book has to come off of that. That was just so I knew it was my book, and it left every meeting with me, or it was getting left to be reviewed to give back to me. Yes, it's time. Really? It's time to doctor this baby up and put all the logos and watermarks and things on it and make it pretty.
Such a valuable piece.
But he missed one of the very end things that I think is important too. You guys don't just teach them how to run the business now and grow and make good money, but you are also willing to talk to them about keep the end in mind. Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
Where do you want to go? What does the end look like? Because so many business owners jump in and have no idea. What's the end? Like, you're going to want to retire one day
someday,
or go do something else.
No, it's true.
So what are the opportunities for you to do that? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, you're not just buying a business, you're buying an asset that you're developing and growing that eventually when you want to retire, maybe give it to a child or a family member, or sell it to somebody, or someone buys you out. Those are things you have to start now when you build this business, because although it's a franchise, they own that business.
Right.
For the length of time that agreement's set for.
And when they sell that business, they've got a book they can give to somebody to show them how to run it. And one thing we didn't cover yet, that franchisee isn't going to need everything in that book every day.
No, they're not.
But at some point in the course of that business, they're likely to need most of it. And on the day that you need it and you're not really sure, you have a resource to go to and see what that's supposed to look like.
100% agree with that.
And sometimes you just need a refresher on what they say. I want to do a little more marketing. Let's go to that marketing piece. Let's go to go look
and I think you guys are going to find that, because you're going to have people that come. You're already talking to several in Works. They're going to come in and take the class in person. They're going to be here for 2 weeks. They're going to go back. In a month, do you remember everything that you were taught in a class? No. Will you go back and look at the notes you wrote in the book that follows the class? 100%. Wait, they talked about that. There was a marketing thing. There was someone I can call. There's something I can do. They're going to flip to that section because it's marketing. It's tabbed, right? Marketing is section 3, I think. I should know this by heart at this point. Right. They're going to go to section 3 and say, okay, oh yeah, that's right. They told me I should do this, or I should try this. And here's the basics. I need to make sure my brand I'm following the brand guide on top of doing this marketing piece, whatever it is. So all the pieces of the puzzle are there where they don't have to reach out back to you. They sat through the training. They have some good notes. You're always a resource. But if it's Saturday night and they're making decisions, they need the magic book to be able to go back to. And it's something that I'm a big fan of when you go do training. Who goes out and does training for their industry, not just for their company, but for their industry? They go out, they do some trainings, they spend a magical 48 hours in this bubble of all this information. They write all these good notes and they go back to their office and the book goes on the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is not a book on the shelf book. This is their guide and their manual to run their company and make it happen.
Love it.
Those classes that end up on the shelf, I'm a big fan of, hey, remember, write yourself a reminder every month to go back and look at the class you put on the shelf. It may even be something that you say to them at the end. Make sure you look at your manual on a regular basis. There's going to be things in here that you need now and things that you need later. It's just that reminder that this is for the whole business, but over time, you may need things that you don't need today, but everything is in here for you to go back and reference.
Yeah, one of the things that we're doing here is we have a monthly safety meeting. We have a monthly, we bring all the employees in, we feed them breakfast. And a lot of our technicians have been here for a while, so they already know kind of how to do the basics of drywall and all the stuff. But as we bring on new employees, we need a process for that. Now, we didn't start with this huge book. I didn't start with a video lab and a training lab where we've got a house built and the whole 9 yards. We started with like nothing. In our conference room, there's a picture of the very first evolution of our School of Rock. We literally just put up some fake walls in one of our old warehouses. But how being able to bring somebody new on, just kind of touch back on what we said earlier, it's about the position and not about the person. Because one of the flaws we had early is that we recognized that we had several leads, but some of these leads have been here for a minute. They're all great people, but you get complacent, get a little bit lazy. And then we started tracking warranties and overages and things just weren't going right. And then we were stuck like, wait a second, if this employee A, if he leaves, we're now down a third of our revenue because I got to go train somebody else. B, is they're bringing the brand down. And so we're having to then go have that conversation. And I don't want to be held by one person in the employee. I can't be held captive by that. If this person, whether it's our bookkeeper, our front office staff, our general manager, our estimator, heck, Bill and I, if one of us goes away, we need to be able to still proceed as a business. So we intentionally started, we have to ramp up employees. We started all the training was basically office staff, we'll fix that later, but we had to get field personnel up and running. So we had to find a ways to hire the proper person and then get them ramped up faster. One of my employees says, I think that we train too fast sometimes. And like, I get it. If we want to be a mom and pop shop that all we do is grow our little Orlando branch for the rest of our lives, then we can take an employee, we can rest on them for 6 months and make them just kind of work in the field and do on-the-job training the whole 9 yards. But without a list of proficiencies or without some sort of skill set that we're training them, they may never even jump to lead or their own vehicle. Plus, how do we train that person? How do we train somebody else faster to go to the business? Because if we're waiting 6 months for one person to become a lead, but I need 10 leads.
Yeah.
I need to figure out how to get 10 people in trucks faster.
Right.
Well, and the most poignant thing you said during that discussion was, I've got to bring a franchisee in here and teach them how to do this in a week. And then I maybe have one of my guys out at his office for a week working with them. We have to be able to get them up to a level of proficiency pretty dang quick.
Yeah. It can be done. And we proved it. When we opened up the Alabama location, we did. It was 2 weeks and he was making money the day he got back into business.
He was. Yeah.
Well, and I've gone through all of those pieces, even though just the outline is in the book. I've gone through all the pieces. It's a pretty integral. This is just how you do it. And they have access back to the videos.
Yep.
They have access back to, hey, I want to refresh, or hey, I'm doing something that I've not done yet. I just did it in training. Now I'm going to go do it for real. They've got access to go back and review if they needed to, right?
Or they can always use the famous phone a friend.
Phone a friend is always available.
We must have half a dozen people here that they could reach out to and ask a direct question.
Yeah, and that list is just going to grow. As the franchisees become friends, they can talk to each other. They start. This is what we think is going to work great. I can't wait to see what happens in 2 years. We have dozens of franchises.
It's a living document. It's going to shift. The basic information will always be the same. The shift will be: does the training need to be longer? Does it need to be shorter? Do they need, if they're going to bring on, multiple people up front, do they all need to come with them? It's going to all shift around, but it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. No, it's been a great process and been a blast getting to know you, Bonnie.
Thank you. It's been a blast to be on this journey.
Didn't know
this
what
has been
to
a really
expect.
fun project and not something I do normally. I've done little bits and pieces here and there, but it's been really fun to
Well,
be a
I
part
understand that you're maybe not done and never going away. I've heard something to that effect.
Going away.
Oh,
never. It's never
I'm okay with that, aren't you, James?
No.
Yeah.
They're going to figure out how to just make me part of the consultant payroll for a long time.
There you go.
Just keep me on.
And frankly, shame on us for not.
Shame on us if we don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why wouldn't we want this high? Listen, one day we talk about our training. In just a couple of years, we'll see she's going to be doing her glorious whatever you're launching in the near future. And
you just don't know.
We may be like remember when? Don't forget about us little people back here in the corner.
That's right.
No, never. You never forget the people that make an impact or that you feel like you're impacting them. Like I feel like I'm such an impactful piece of this puzzle.
Yeah.
I took all the information you guys had, just put it in a logical sense. And now we're just going to launch the training that goes with it.
Yeah.
So the book and the training are all going to match. And it's going to feel like an easy flowing piece of product, nice, high class, as Bill wanted, to give to the people that are entrusting you to come into business with you.
Yeah. And what a great gift to give our franchisees to be able to introduce them to you as a part of our team.
Yes.
That they have access
got an amazing
to
team.
you.
We have a good team. No doubt about it.
Take me off the list. Like you have an amazing team already. Like you've got the greatest people as additions to your team in the consulting fields in different ways. That are all part of the puzzle. So.
Yeah. This goes to our underlying philosophy in the podcast and in businesses. You can't do business in a vacuum. You can't do business by yourself. If you do, you're going to be stuck. You're never going to get beyond that next level, that hump, because you have to have the right people. I can't do this. I hired the right person to do this. Not just the right person, but the person that is now part of our company in a big way that we'll obviously never going to get rid of.
But that's with everything in business. Think about it. If you're not good at it, don't do it. Get yourself in a position that you're making enough money that you can hire the person to do the thing you're not good at. And that's in every industry. If you're a smaller business and you don't want to have a full-time HR person and you don't want to, and you can't have, $100,000+ marketing person on staff, go partner with those people and bring them in as those outside consultants. And you can build this amazing team that takes care of you. People laugh when I have an entrepreneur that's just starting a business. I'm like, everything you hate doing, put it on a sticky note and stick it on the side of your desk and just keep building the sticky notes. They get to a point, it's time to hire the first employee. I'm like, all right, pull out the sticky note pile. That's your job description. Because it's everything you don't like to do.
Yeah.
Right? Or you're not good at. So we have to go find those people and put those people in our wheelhouse. And your franchisees will find that too. Who in their wheelhouse can help them succeed? It's building those relationships and those business partnerships, because they're not going to know everything. They're not going to know everything out of the bat.
I agree. Well, do you want us to plug you so you can get more clients since they see how amazing you are, or do you need to?
No, I appreciate the podcast I did was so much fun the last time, and I enjoyed talking about you guys today and the book, because that's been such a fun project for me. I don't know. I think there's a lot of consultants that just take jobs to take jobs. I don't take jobs to take jobs. I take jobs to be in business with people that I want to be in business with. Yeah. This project, I was like, it shouldn't be a big deal. They have everything together. I had no idea that I was going to still be here. I think I'm at 7 months, maybe. Because I really thought they have everything together. It's going to be easy. I'm going to take this book they already have. And once I really dove into the book that existed that they really didn't have a say in, and I drove into their training, I realized very quickly we were going to be taking this in a completely different direction with more logic to it. So no, my plug would be that you guys find more franchisees so that I get to stay on as a consultant for as long as I can. I'm always looking for great business partners. So anybody needs support and help, I'm happy to give a little free advice to, because that seems to be people want to talk and they want to trust you first. And that was my thing too. I want to trust people. I want to be in business with people I like and that I care about and that I want to see succeed. I don't need to be on the front cover of their magazine when they're, making zillions of dollars. I just want the pat on the back on the way out the back door. Like, hey, thank you so much. Yeah, that's all I need. Like, you guys go succeed. I just want to be a piece of the puzzle.
So how can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn under my name or BPowered Consulting. I do have a website that, the joke has been the content may never be finished, but it actually is almost done, because I hired a marketing person who put her foot on my butt and said, you got to finish the content.
And gave you homework.
And gave me homework, right? And said if I don't finish the homework, she's going to do it for me.
Ooh.
Which is just going to cost me money, so we don't want her to do that, right?
No,
I want to finish the content.
And the website is?
It's www.BPoweredConsulting.com. And it's BP Howard. Right? People forget that. It's not
BPowered.
Yes, be powered. Be empowered. Be empowered to be amazing like you guys.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for taking time.
Thanks for having
coming
me.
and being with us again. We love having you.
Absolutely.
I hope I get to come back this year.
Yes.
It's only January.
I know. We can do it. Everyone, you just got a masterclass and good stuff there. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks everyone for listening. Another great show. We'd like to thank you for listening to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. We'd love for you to join our Facebook group and keep the conversation going. If you'd like to learn more about us and our business, check us out at holeinthewall.com. If you'd like to learn more about how to start a Hole in the Wall franchise, go to holeinthewallfranchising.com.